Hey guys, it's Licious Kid from ClimaxCombo, and we're back with another Leaks of the Week. This week we're continuing off with the Cinderella Girls booster pack, which is coming out on the 16th of October, so fairly soon. And this week is showing a lot of double R's because if you guys are not familiar with how Cinderella Girls work, I do believe there is 15 double R's in the series, so that's nearly double the amount of double R's you get in a normal series. So yeah, lots of double R's in the series, and there's not much time left before the series is coming out. So they're showing a lot of double R's this week. So this video should be a fairly long video. So I hope you guys don't mind, but I hope you but sit tight. It should be a long video, but it should be a really exciting video, and I hope you guys are just as excited as I am for this set. But anyways, with that out of the way, let's go on. So first off, right off the bat, as a double R, 00 double R 1500 media, music trait of course. When this card is played from hand to stage, you can pay cost, which is pay 1, clock yourself. If you do, search your deck for a level 1 or lower character, show it to your opponent, add it to your hand, then shuffle your deck. She has another ability of when this card declares an attack, you can choose one of your characters and gain plus 500 power until the end of the turn. This media, her first ability off the bat is really good. We've seen this on playability a lot of times, like the 00 Riki, of course, a $20 R, which is still ridiculous. I would consider making little busters if that Riki wasn't so damn expensive. You know, if that Riki was like $3, I'd be like, cool, maybe I'll make the deck. But no, it's too expensive, so I'll never make the deck. But anyways, this media, really strong on play ability. Pay 1, clock yourself, search your deck for a level 1 or lower. Really good. So this is a very, it's justified that she's a double R. So her first ability, very powerful, very versatile, and pushes you faster to level 1. So really good on play ability. And also, when she attacks, you give a character plus 500 power until the end of the turn. Do keep in mind she can't give it to herself, so when you want to use her as a beater after you use her on play ability, you can, because that 500 extra power might help her a lot at level 0. But at later stages of the game, you can give the extra 500 power to other characters. So, media, great on play ability with an okay secondary ability, a very strong and very fine double R. Next up, other good yellow double Rs, 0025 double R Jogasaki Rika, Music and Gyaru. She has an auto ability of during the start of your opponent's attack phase, you can pay cost, which is, during the start of your opponent's attack phase, you may place the top card of your deck to the waiting room. If that card is a music character, you may move this card to an empty border on your center stage. So it's just like the Hibiki from Symphogear, the Kirito from SAO, and the Eddie from Love Live. All of those are very good and very strong runners. This Rika should be no exception, because as you guys noticed, and I'm sure you guys know, all the characters in this series is music, so if you hit a character, she runs, and that's really good. So definitely another really good double R. Man, just right off the bat, with these two yellow double Rs, it should be really easy to splash yellow into your Cinderella Girls deck, so that's cool. Anyways, let's go on. A pretty strong set of yellow cards, 1045R Mika. These are both the same card. This is the R version, and this is the SR. Music and Gyaru, of course. When you have a Loves Her Elder Sister Rika, which is the next card right here, this card gains plus 2k power. This Rika is a 1500 Music and Gyaru. She has a continuous ability of during your turn, all your other characters gain plus 1k power. And she has a pay 1 bond for the Mika that we just talked about. So this combo is super good. She's super weak, of course, but that is because if you have the Rika, she becomes a 1065, which is really good. But this Rika makes it all that much better, because during your own turn, all your other yellow characters gain plus 1k power. All your other yellow characters, which is like really good. So she not only benefits Mika and makes her a 107k, but she also boosts all your other yellow characters throughout the later portion of the game as well. And she also has a pay 1 bond for the Mika. So if you have one Mika and one Rika in the back, this Mika is 1065 or 1075 on offense, I should say, and 1065 on defense, which is really good. But if you have two Rikas, then she's a 1085 on offense, and she's a she's still 1065 on defense. But that's not bad for a costless character. So really strong on offense with this combo here. But it's like okay power on defense, 1065 on defense, not that strong. But definitely not bad. Seeing as how strong she gets on offense with this can be really scary. And if you have 4 Rikas and you have 1 Mika, then she's a 1-0, 10-5, which is really strong. But I don't think you should be doing that because you should be saving these Mikas or this Nikas to bond. So yeah, just like the Kyoko and Saika combo, or not exactly, very similar to the Kyoko and Kyoko Saika combo. Really good combo, and this is very similar to that. However, of course, this is not a level 0, but it gives all your yellow characters plus 1k, so it does have its benefits. Very similar to the Kyoko Saika combo, which is still pretty good. So this should be really good, just like them, and I think it's a little better than the Kyoko Apple combo. So a very fine pair of yellow cards. And it's Jokas, and it's Mika. Super cute. Oh, super cute. Anyways, next up we have this trio of new generation cards, but these cards did get leaked on Friday, so I'll just go over them when it's Friday. Next up we have these R/PR cards, 001500R. These are both the same card. This is the PR version, so I think this is this is going to be the box PRs you get with every box. So that's really cool. Getting signs and boxes, man. Why can't every series get that? Bring it to Love Live, Bushiroad. Because Love Live is better. But anyways, let's go on. Totoki ID. I think I have this character in the mobile game. I think this is my SR. Yeah, I think she's my SR. Anyways, what this card does is she's music, 1500 power. First of all, when this card declares an attack, you can choose one of your other music characters and gain power plus X until the end of the turn, where X is the soul of that character multiplied by 1000. And she has a pay 1 brainstorm, where you pay 1, mill top 4 cards of your deck. For every climaxes amongst those, search your deck for up to 1 music character, show it to your opponent, add it to your hand, then discard 1 card from your hand, then shuffle your deck. So this ID is pretty good for. Well, first of all, her brainstorm ability is pretty good. Doesn't plus, of course, because it's spammable, but I think her spammable brainstorm is one of the better ones in Weiss, because you get to search for how many you hit, you get to search for how many climaxes you hit, and then you discard the same amount. So you get to get whatever cards you need from your deck, or whatever characters you need from your deck, and you get to add it to your hand. Then you get to discard excess cards you don't need, like climaxes. So it's a good way to filter your hand, a good way to get cards from your deck added to your hand. And since you're adding the characters from your deck to your hand, you're also increasing your compress every time you do successfully brainstorm. So that's really good. So for that reason, I do think she is definitely one of the. I think this brainstorm ability is one of the stronger brainstorm abilities in Weiss, and her Black. Her on attack ability is pretty good as well. Every character has at least 1 soul, so when she attacks, she at least gives 1000 power, which is a pretty decent amount of power. But of course, she might be able to give more power, because if that character has extra soul, like maybe it's a 3/2, and then it will get like 2k power, which is a lot of power. But if you do like a 1k1 soul, then she does give 2k power. If you use a +2 soul, then when she attacks, you give 3k power. But or if you like a 2k1, then with climaxes you can give your characters plus more soul. That way ID can give more power. So gives a respectable amount of power. So right off the bat she gives a decent amount of power at 1k. When you use a climax that gives some extra soul, she gives a really good amount of power, which is 2k. And if you're giving power to a level 3, which is if you're giving power to a level 3, she gives 2k at least. But if you use a climax, then you're giving maybe 3k power, which is quite a lot of power. So yeah, definitely, I think it's a solid card, and she's really cute too. And you could get her as a PR, which is really awesome. So yeah, really good spammable brainstorm. Next up, we have this 1175R, and once again 1175PR. So I'm assuming this is another PR you can get. A box PR, I should say. Koshimizu Sachiko, Black. That was hard for me to say. And music and cute trait. Lols, of course, you'll have the cute trait. Anyways, she has a continuous ability of this card gains +1 level, and she has an auto ability of when this card is reversed in battle, you may place the top card of your deck to your clock. If you do, place this card back to rest. So this is very similar to the Unkillable Saika or the Zombie Saika in Madoka, whatever you call it. Very similar to that because every time she gets reversed in battle, you are forced to clock encore her. But that's not too bad with the Sachiko. This Sachiko is 1175, which is very high, which is the highest you get for 1/1s. She gains +1 level, so she's hard to side against, and you cannot level 1 suicide into her, which is quite good. And because she's a 1/1, it's probably a good idea to encore her. So she essentially has clock encore, which is really good on a 1/1, which is a level 2 on the field. So this Sachiko can be pretty damn hard for some decks to deal with, and even if they do deal with it at level 1, you can always just clock encore her to, keep her around to fight for another day. So that's really good. So I think this Sachiko is really solid because, the Zombie Saika is pretty low power, but it's costless. But because it's low power, it might force you to clock encore too much. But the Sachiko has a pretty respectable power, so it would be harder for your opponent to reverse this. So you won't be clock encoring her too often, in my opinion. At level 1, I don't think you should be clock encoring her too much. With just how today's meta work, a lot of level 1 lineups are fairly low powered. So I think this Sachiko has a strong chance of surviving and has a strong chance of causing some trouble for your opponent. And of course, when you are done with her, just play over her and then, just call it a day. So yeah, I think it's a pretty decent R. I think it's a pretty decent 1/1. So yeah, and on to the next one. Once again, just like the other two, this is a box PR, as you can see right here. Anyways, this is Kawashima Mizuki music trait. First of all, she's a pay 1 1500 backup, which is really expensive, but she does have a nice auto ability of when you use this backup, you can look at the top card of your deck and either place it on top or put it to the bottom of your deck. So yeah, it's a really weak pay 1 backup, but the auto ability can save your butt because when you, let's say you're level 3, your opponent attacks into one of your characters and then they're dealing 2 damage and you're at 3/5. You can play this Mizuki. You can use the backup ability of this Mizuki. Look at the top. If it's not a character, put it to the bottom. That way you have a higher chance of canceling your opponent's 2 damage attack. So this Mizuki helps you. This Mizuki increases your chance of canceling, which is really good because sometimes all you need is that 1 extra cancel to survive and end your opponent's life. And this Mizuki gives you a chance of getting that extra turn you need. And so for that reason, I think this Mizuki is fairly solid. So overall, a fairly solid card. And you can use her as a really expensive backup when you need to at level 1, which may not be optimal, but at least you have the option of doing so. That's it for Tuesday. On to Wednesday, 001500. Bad at Smiling Producer, music trait. He has an ability of when he's played from hand to stage, you can pay 1, discard a card. If you do, search your deck for a music character, show it to your opponent, add it to your hand, then shuffle your deck. So a generic searcher, pay 1, discard a card searcher. A lot of series have these, and if they do have it, it's a pretty good idea. You should be running a couple. So a generic searcher, never hurts to have one, and yeah, so definitely a solid card to add in any Cinderella girls build. Of course, it's only 1500 power because 99% of the music searchers in Weiss are 0015, like the ones in Love Live. All 4 of them are 0015. The one in Diva is a 0015, and now, of course, this producer is following suit and is a 0015, which sucks. I wish the ones in Love Live were 0025, because that'd be really awesome. But no, we are cursed to have these 1500 searchers. Man, with this producer and this brainstorm and these 2, it's too easy to splash in yellow now. Too easy. Anyways, the next card shown here might be a reason why you want to splash yellow into your deck. 2/4 Energy Drink. This is a fairly interesting event. So when you use this, you choose one of your music character and gains the following ability until the end of the turn. Auto. This ability can only be activated once per turn. When this card reverses its opponent in battle and this card is in the middle border of your center stage, you may place that character back to stand. So essentially, you're giving the middle character on your front row double attack, which is really scary. Double attacking on its own is a really scary ability. It's a really scary game-ending ability, and that many series have, and I'm sure we've all been defeated by double attack at least once in our lives. So yeah, having an event that can give any of your characters double attack is really scary because usually double attackers don't have an on attack ability. If they do, they're probably really broken, like Tachibana, a really prime example of a broken double attacker, because she has an on attack ability, which is burn one on your opponent. But this energy drink can give any character double attack. So right now we don't know that many scary double attacking, or we don't know that many scary cards in Cinderella Girls with a scary on attack ability, but we know one, and one of them is the 3-2 Ranko from that we saw last week that combos with the book. If you use this with the Ranko and you have the climax out, that can be pretty scary for your opponent to deal with because that Ranko can potentially deal you 0 to 5 damage with her first attack. So like she attacks, she mills top 5. Let's say she hits 2 climaxes, take 2 damage. Then you attack, then she attacks. Then energy drink goes off. She goes back to stand, she attacks again, and since the book is there, you mill top 5. Let's say you hit 1 climax. You take 1, then Ranko's damage goes through. So it's like, holy shit, that's super scary, you know? And that's just one example. We don't know any other like scary on attack abilities in this set. I mean, you have the 3-2 Miku that we saw last week as well, but I think the 3-2 Ranko is a little scarier. So, you know, you could use it with one of those two, and when more level 3s get shown, this card becomes all that much scarier because if a scarier on attack ability comes out, that's another candidate you can use with this energy drink. So that's really scary. But you know, this energy drink, you don't have to use it with a card with an on attack ability. You can use it on any card because it gives any card double attack, and double attacking on its own is a really scary game ending ability. So giving any of your characters double attack is really good. But of course, there are a lot of downsides to this because this event, first of all, it costs 4, which is a lot. But do keep in mind, you have to how do I explain this? This event is really all in because you have to play this event before your attack phase. So you know, things can go wrong. You give your middle character the ability to double attack. If your middle character, like let's say you play this event, you give your Ranko in the middle of your front row the double attack ability. Ranko attacks, her climax combo goes off. She attacks, and then she gets backed up, and then she gets reversed. You wasted 4 stock on that Ranko, but like you have to pay the 4 before she reverses her opponent's character. So if you don't reverse your opponent's character with this energy drink, you lost 4 stock, and you lost 1 card in your hand, which is of course this energy drink. So you lost 1 card in hand, and you lost 4 stock, which is a lot of resources. And of course, you have to reverse your opponent's character in the middle of the center stage. So if your opponent doesn't have anything in the middle of their front row, then you can't play this energy drink. And you know, usually most of the time, your opponent's center character in the front row is usually the strongest character they have. So you have to kill their strongest character on the field, and you know, they need to have a character on the field. So this energy drink might not be playable at all times during the game. There might be some games where you have this energy drink and like there might not even be a good opportunity to use so. Maybe your opponent keeps leaving their front row, their middle slot in the front row empty. If they constantly do that, you can't ever play this energy drink. If your opponent's deck is too high powered, then you can never play this energy drink. And so if you never find a good opportunity to use the energy drink is a completely dead card in all portions of the game, and that sucks. No one really wants to play a dead card. It's kind of hard to have a dead card in your hand in Weiss because, you know, level 0s always deal damage and climaxes can at least push for more damage, so it's kind of hard to find a dead card in Weiss, but this energy drink can potentially be a dead card in your hand. So the fact that this card might not always be good, and the fact that this card is so all in, you know, this card does have its upsides. Like, it's really scary with a strong game ender like Ranko, but it can be like, you know, like I said a million times now, it can be really dead. So I think this card is fairly balanced, and I think it's fairly interesting. I think it's a fun and interesting event. I don't know how good it will be just because we don't know all the really good on attackers in this set. And we don't know all the really strong on attack level 3s in the set. So, maybe if they get a really, really, really good one that's like not Climax Combo reliant, maybe this energy drink will be staple. But, like I said, we really just have to see what other level 3s this set has to offer. So, yeah, I guess we should just keep this in the back of our minds, and we'll just see what else this set has to offer. On to the next card. Let me get a drink of water first. Anyways, 1500 common Sankawa Chihiro. I didn't even know her name. And the first green card to be shown in Idolmaster. To be honest, I didn't think Idolmaster was going to have green at this point because the trial deck cards had no green, and last week had no green, and all the girls have been shown in a color by now, so I was like, oh, I guess they won't have green. But no, they're having green, and this is the first one. It's only a common, so don't be expecting too much. When your other music characters are played from your hand to your stage, that character gets plus 500 power and the drink trade until the end of the turn, and she has an act ability of where you can pay 2, put her to rest, and draw a card. I don't think this card is very good because if you wanted, when your characters play from hand to stage, they gain 500 power. That's not that cool because you could just play a 500 global, and all your characters will always have 500 power on play and on defense. So, just use the 500 global if you want the 500 power. I guess the drink trade, I don't think that's relevant. I'm pretty sure that's just for flavor. So I don't think this drink trade is important at all. Unless maybe later there's a card that gives all your drink trade character plus 10k power. But I highly doubt there's any drink synergy going on the set. So, if you just want this, if you want the 500 power, I say just stick to a global. And she has an act ability where you can pay 2, put her to rest, and you get to draw a card. If you wanted a card that paid 2 to plus you, I think you're better off with I think there's a Miku we saw in the trial deck that was on play pay 2 salvage card. I think there was another card where on play pay 2 search for your deck for a card and add it to your hand. I think you're better off with those cards. Because I think paying 2 to draw a card is kind of weak, just because drawing a card you can't really control what you're getting. So I think you're better off with a pay 2 salvage or a pay 2 search. So this Chihiro I think is a fairly weak card, but it's only a common. Next up, we have this 3-2 Futuba Anzu, 9k double R, music and candy. So this is the third double R shown this week? Yes. Anyways, she has 3 abilities. Her first one, when you have 5 or fewer cards in your deck, she loses 1 level in your hand. 2, for every other music character you control, she gets plus 500 power. And 3, when this card is played from hand to stage, you may place the top card of your clock to your waiting room, so she heals. I don't really like Anzu, to be completely honest. First of all, her first condition, you have 5 or less cards in your deck. It's not that great, to be honest. Yeah, it's totally plausible for her to get her continuous ability off, but nowadays, a lot of times, a lot of people refresh late level 1s or early level 2, and so sometimes you might not have the opportunity to use Anzu. It's not hard, but the condition isn't always present in every game. So her condition isn't that good. She gets 500 power for every character, which is nice. So she'll be 3 to 11k before assist. But lastly, she heals. I'm not saying healing is bad. Healing is always good, but she really kills your compress. So if you have 5 cards left, let's say you have 3 cards left in your deck, you play Anzu. Then you pay 2 stock, and they go back to your waiting room, and then you heal. So you're decompressing your deck by 3 cards when you play Anzu, and you can't really make up for that because you only have 5 cards left in your deck. If you have 1 card left in your deck, let's say you play Anzu, you pay the 2 stock and you heal. That's 3 less compress because of Anzu's effect, and then you attack, and then you get the extra stock. But because Anzu is forced to come out before refresh, and the fact that she heals, she kind of kills your compress because she decompresses you by 3 cards every time you play Anzu. If you play multiple Anzu, she kills your compress that much more. Sure, she heals you, but because she decompresses you, you kind of have a good chance of making the damage up that Anzu. Like if you had stronger compress, you might not even take damage at all. But Anzu, yes, she heals, but because she decompresses you, it might be because of Anzu, you might take more damage in the future. So I hope you guys see what I mean. I mean, yeah, Anzu's only decompressing you by 3 cards, but 3 cards can go a long way because, sometimes all you need is 3 damage to die, and, this Anzu might be the reason why you died. So, um, it might just be me because I'm a little anal about compressing. I'm always trying to compress to the maximum potential. So it might just be me. I'm personally not a big fan of this Anzu, but this Anzu is it's okay. I guess I'm a little biased towards this, but I personally don't like this Anzu. I hope they get better options for level 3 cards that can come out of level 2, because in my personal opinion, I don't think it's that good. I'm sure someone's gonna tell me that no, screw you, this Anzu's great, and I do think it's totally playable and it can be pretty good. Like it's a 3/2 11k at level 2 that heals you, but that is really good. But I personally, just me personally, I don't really like it. But definitely playable, and it's definitely playable, and deck can definitely be pretty strong. And I'll just leave it at that. Anyways, lastly, 2/1 backup stamina drink uncommon. Yeah, so it's a backup, and you choose one of the following abilities. You can only choose. Oh wait, sorry. Choose one of the following actions to perform. So either you can 1. Choose one of your music character and give it 3/5 power until the end of the turn. 2. Choose one music character from your waiting room and return it to your hand. Or 3. Search your card for up to 1 energy drink, which was this card right that we talked about just a second ago. Show it to your opponent, add it to your hand, then shuffle your deck and place this card to memory. This stamina drink is fairly interesting. First of all, it can be a 3/5 backup. Really weak for a level 2 backup, but still 3/5 is a pretty respectable amount of power. So it can be a 3/5 backup, which isn't bad. 2, you can search your deck for a music character and add it to your hand. Or search your waiting room for a music character and add it to your hand, which isn't too bad. Getting the extra character you might need can really save your butt in a pinch. And 3, it's kind of the weirdest one. You search your deck for an energy drink and you add it to your hand. Then you place this card to memory. So this card might So first of all, to use the third ability, you have to be running an energy drink. Second of all, you might not always have an energy drink in your deck. Like if you're running 4 of these energy drinks, I think you're a little insane. I don't think you should be running 4 of these energy drinks because, like I said, it can be dead, and it costs a lot. Maybe there'll be some really strong on attack level 3 that might be really good with this energy drink. So, actually, no, I take that back. Maybe you'll be running 4 energy drinks because if there's a really strong card that synergizes with this, then, it might be plausible. But anyways, the third ability can be really good because you get to search for the energy drink from your deck, so you do compress yourself by 1. The energy drink you might be using it next turn to end game. And then lastly, this card goes to memory, so it increases your compress by 2 because you get a card from your deck and you add it to your hand, and then this card goes to memory. So you do increase your compress by 2, which is pretty nice. But of course, the downside is if you don't have an energy drink in your deck, like you play the event and you choose to search for an energy drink. You look in your deck, you don't have an energy drink. Oh shit! This card goes to memory, and you paid 1 to just essentially shuffle your deck, which might save you, but you did minus yourself, so it might be a little iffy. So this stamina drink is interesting. The first 2 abilities are fairly solid, and the third ability you might not use all the time, but a fairly okay event. I don't think I would personally run it unless I'm running if you're not running a lot of energy drinks. I don't think you should be running the stamina drink. If you are running a lot of energy drinks, then I think this stamina drink becomes pretty good. But without it, I think this card is mediocre, and I don't think it's all that good. but it's decent. Like without, if you're not running energy drink, it has two fairly solid abilities. So even without the energy drink, this card is okay. But if you're running a lot of energy drinks, then maybe running one or two of these stamina drinks might not be a bad idea. So yeah, that's all for this day. On to Thursday. Of course, you guessed it, more double R's. 3-2-10K R, Anastasia, Music at Star. This Anastasia is fairly interesting. When she has a continuous ability of when you have 3 or more music characters, she gets plus 1k power, so she's 11k base. And she has another ability of, this ability can only be activated once per turn. During the turn, this card is played from hand to stage, and when this card reverses its opponent in battle, you may pay cost, which is pay to discard 1 card from your hand to the waiting room, and send one of your other characters from your stage to the waiting room. If you do, choose off my first star Minami from your waiting room and place it onto any border on your stage. My first star Minami is this 1-0 right here. 1-0, 5k R, Music and Sports. She has an auto ability, and when this card is played from hand to stage or via the auto ability of Anastasia, this card gains power plus X until the end of the turn, where X is the number of music character multiplied by 500. So this Anastasia is essentially a double. It's like a pseudo double attacker. It kind of double attacks. It kind of double attacks. So this Anastasia, she's 11k base, which is quite nice because, as you can see, she does have to reverse an opponent's character to get this effect off. So, so when she reverses an opponent's character, you pay 2 and you discard a card. It's not that heavy, but so it's not that heavy, and it's not climax combo reliant, so that's really good. But to double attack, you have to kill off one of your own characters, and then you play the Minami from your waiting room, and you place it onto where that, and then you place it on her onto any border on your stage. So you're essentially getting 4 attacks. So it's like you're getting a double attack, but the last attack, or the double attacker, isn't Anastasia, it's Minami. And Minami is only 1 soul. And that might be a good thing, and that might not be a bad thing. Because usually double attackers, like it's usually a good or a plus or a good thing or a bad thing. Usually the double attacker, they carry over the soul they gain. So like if your first double, like if you have a double attacker, the first attack triggered 2 soul. The next attack is gonna deal 4 soul because you triggered a 2 soul with a previous attack. And sometimes that's a good thing, and sometimes that's a bad thing. But this Anastasia, she doesn't really follow that because you have to pay 2, you pay 1, you pay 2, discard, and then you get the Minami. Oh, and you kill one of your characters, and then you play Minami from your waiting room. Minami is a brand new character, so she's only level 1, so she starts off at 1 soul, and sometimes the 1 soul might not be enough. Like if your opponent's at 3-4, or let's say your opponent's at 3-3, you attack with Anastasia. The damage cancels. You double attack into Minami. It's like, oh crap, Minami only has 1 soul. I can't. It's kind of impossible for me to win at this point unless I get really lucky with my trigger. But like if Anastasia was a normal double attacker, then you might have a chance to win, depending on what Anastasia triggered the first time, and depending on what Anastasia triggers with her second attack, because she's 2 soul base. So like in that situation, Anastasia being a normal double attacker would be better. But like in some situations, you attack your opponent. Your opponent's at 3-4. You attack with Anastasia. She's at 3-6. Then you bring out Minami, and then you front attack an opponent's character for 1, and then you win the game. So in that situation, it will be better because you can't deal 1 damage with Anastasia because she's 2 soul unless you're siding for 1. But that might not always happen. So a very interesting double attacker because she brings out a level 1, and it's like in some situations normal double attacking is better, and in some situations this 1-0 double attacking combo is better. But I think Anastasia is really good because her double attacking is non-climax combo reliant, and it's not that heavy. All you have to do is pay 2, discard a card, and kill off one of your characters. Of course, don't attack with Anastasia first because if you attack with Anastasia first, you kill off one of your characters, and then you bring out Minami, because then you're only getting 3 attacks. So of course, attack with Anastasia second or attack with her last. Every time for her cost, when you have to send one of your characters from stage to waiting room, always send a character that has already attacked, because then you are getting more attacks in that turn. Of course, you can use multiple Anastasias in conjunction. Like you have, let's say you have a Miku, and Anastasia. Miku attacks, then Anastasia attacks. She kills Miku. Miku becomes Minami. Minami then attacks. Then you attack with the third Anastasia. Anastasia attacks. She kills off the Minami that the first Anastasia came out. Then out comes another Minami or the same Minami, and then you get another attack in. So with multiple Anastasias, you can get a lot of attacks in, and it's not that much resources. It's only 2, and you're discarding a card, and you have to kill off one of your characters. So it's pretty light. You can always build the stock. You can always build the stock by attacking, so it's really cheap double attacking. And you can bring out multiple Minamis. The more I talk about it, the more I like this combo. At first, I was pretty like, whatever about this, but the more I think about it, I'm starting to really like this. So yeah, I think it's really good. And also, Minami herself is a pretty good card. 105k, gets 500 per on play. You get 500 per character on the field. So if you have a full field, she's 7.5 before assist. A lot of cards like this nowadays, and it's kind of like the new 1-0 Bushiroad is like giving to every set. But that being said, it's not a bad 1-0. It's a very solid 1-0 beater. So the fact that Minami is a really solid card. This 1-0 Minami is solid, so you're not hurting your deck running a lot, like 4 of these Minamis. If you're on 4 of these Minamis, that's not bad. Like, that's a pretty good choice. Anastasia can double attack. So, like, if Minami was a really bad card, this Anastasia combo might not be as good, because you are forced to run a bad card with Anastasia. But because Minami is a pretty solid card, you're not hurting your deck by like running a couple Anastasias along with this Minami. So yeah, overall, a really cheap double attacker. It's a really cheap double attack, and in some situations it's better than a normal double attacker, and in some situations it's worse than a normal double attacker. But overall, I think it's really solid. Oh, also, she can essentially dodge anti-damage backups, because if they anti-damage her, then Minami can go out and deal damage. So yeah, she can. So a normal double attacker is actually really susceptible to anti-damage, but Anastasia is not as susceptible to anti-damage backups, because she brings out a brand new character. So that's really good. Also, I almost forgot to mention, energy drink is really susceptible to anti-damage. So if your opponent is playing an anti-damage, if your opponent is running a series with anti-damage, do not play energy drink unless you're a risk taker, or you see like all the anti-damage backups in the waiting room. But you know, I forgot to mention, energy drink is extremely susceptible to anti-damage. Anastasia, not so much. So, damn. I really like Anastasia. You know what? I really like this Climax combo. If I was running blue, I would run Ranko and Anastasia, because I think that's a really scary game ending you got going on. And that is all. And I'll just leave this at that. I think I talked about Anastasia long enough, but I really do like it. Next up, 00500R, my first start, Anastasia. Music and start trait, of course. She's 500 global from music, so that's really good. And she has another ability. When this ability can only be activated once per turn. When using act ability, choose one of your characters to get plus 500 power until the end of the turn. So Anastasia, 500 global, right off the bat, really good. Secondary ability, when using act ability, you give a character plus 500. So if you use a brainstorm, if you use a backup, or you just use an act ability by some other character, give an extra 500. So the first ability already makes her really solid, and she has a secondary ability which can be really nice at times, or it can be really nice at all portions of the game, because if you always brainstorm, then you always get this ability off, and when you back up, then you give extra power. So 2 really good abilities in one card at level 0 definitely makes this Anastasia very solid. And I already talked about Minami. Minami is really good. So yeah, overall, Thursday, a really good day for Love Laika fans. And lastly, New Generation's turn. Surprisingly, not a double R, just an R for Friday. So 3/2 10k R, New Generation Uzuki, music trait of course. When this card is played from hand to stage, draw 2, ditch 1. And then she has a pretty funny and interesting climax combo. When this card declares an attack with the climax Dekitake Evo Revo generation on your climax border, which is the wind trigger here. All of them are the same thing, just different art. So pretty much when this card declares an attack with a wind trigger, and you have another new generation Mio and new generation Lin right here. On your center stage, you can pay cost, which is pay 3, discard 1 music character from your hand. If you do, deal 3 damage to your opponent. If that damage is cancelled, you may place the top 3 cards of your from the top of your clock and put them to the waiting room. And of course, damage can't be cancelled. Since this whole wombo combo is revolved around the other two, I will go over them as well first. 2/1 4K uncommon new generation Lin music. She's a 1k global for musics, and she has an auto ability of when this card declares an attack with the wind trigger as well, and you have another new generation Mio and a new generation Uzuki on your front row. Choose one of your characters and it gains plus 5k until the end of your opponent's next turn. And lastly, 1/0 new generations Mio. When this card is played for hand to stage, the card gains plus 1500 power until the end of the turn. Once again, combos with the wind trigger. So when she attacks, when this card declares an attack with the wind trigger, and you have another new generation Uzuki and another new generation Lin on your front row, you can pay cost, which is place one of your characters from stand to rest. If you do, until the end of the turn, all your characters cannot be put to reverse, and your opponent cannot play any backups or events from their hand. And of course, the wind trigger is right here. That was my mom. I hope you guys didn't hear that. But anyways, this is a fairly interesting wombo combo here. I don't think it's that good because it's a little too much setup. But you know what? Let's see. So of course, Uzuki. If she's not good, then what's the whole point? So let's go over Uzuki first. Her first ability is draw 2, ditch 1, which is nice because there's a lot of pieces needed for this combo. So the fact that Uzuki draws you ditch 1 help you get this combo off more consistently is really nice. So the draw 2, ditch 1 in Uzuki's case is really good. Her climax combo is absolutely hilarious. When she attacks with Lin and Mio, you can pay 3, discard a card, and you deal 3, and if they cancel it, you heal 3. So the climax combo is really heavy, and it's a lot of setup. You have to pay 3, so essentially you're paying like 5 for this climax combo, because you have to pay 2 for Uzuki, and then you have to pay 3 for the combo, so you're essentially paying 5. You have to discard a music character. You can't discard any card, so you have to discard a music character, and you have to discard, and you have to have the wind trigger, so you're essentially losing 2 cards in your hand. You have to play the wind trigger, so that's 1 card in your hand, and you have to discard a card, so you're essentially paying 5 and losing 2 cards in your hand. And on top of that, you need to have Mio on the field, and you need to have Lin on the field. So that's a lot. That's just so much setup. And if you do get it off, your opponent takes 3, which isn't that impressive. But if they cancel it, you heal 3, which is pretty impressive. So it's a lot of work, and it's kind of cool if you get it off. But I don't think how much work you put into this, I don't think justifies the results. Like, if you deal 3 to your opponent, that's good. If you heal 3, that's also good. But you paid 5 stock, you lost 2 hand size for it. Was that worth it? I don't know. I don't think so. I think you're better off with running more conventional level 3s that just heal or that just game end. You know what I mean? And like, even if you get this combo off, your other 2 attacks aren't that scary. Like with other conventional game enders like Anastasia or Ranko, if you could have like different game enders on the field, you could have 1 Ranko and double Anastasia. and that's really scary. But with Uzuki, Uzuki, you have Uzuki's effect, you have her attack, and then you have two like wimpy attacks, two sold attacks, because these have to be in the front row. So it's like you have two non-game ending attacks coming at you, which isn't that scary. So like yeah, Uzuki's effect is scary, but you can't like use it in conjunction with other scary effects in the same turn because you have to attack with these three characters. You see what I mean? So it's like a lot of work. So this combo is way too much work and it's way too much resources, and I don't think the benefits are high enough for you to justify it. I mean, I don't know, the benefits is really strong because you deal 3 or you heal 3, but I don't know. I think if you get this off, you're probably winning anyways. So it's like I don't know. But let's talk about the other cards. So Rin is a pretty decent card on her own. She's a 1k global for music characters, which is nice. It's nice that the other two pieces you don't have to play the other two pieces at level 3. You could play Mio at level 1 for a decent beater, and you can play Rin at level 2 for a decent 1k global. Kinda sucks that Rin's climax combo is only relevant at level 3 when you do climax combo. Her climax combo is okay. You give one of your characters plus 5k power until the end of your opponent's next turn. You'll probably be giving that to Uzuki, since Uzuki costs 2 herself. You know, like if you give it to Rin, she's only 9k, so she's probably gonna die. You could give it to Mio. If you give it to Mio on play, she'll be 10-5, but that's not very impressive. Well, I guess 11-5 with the 1k 1 soul, but like 11-5, that's not that scary. If you give it to Rin, she's only 10k, which is like really weak at level 3. So you might as well give it to Uzuki, because that way Uzuki will be what? 1500 on offense? No, 1600, because for 10k plus the 1k global, 11k plus the climax, 16k plus the winter, she'll be 17k on offense, which is absolutely hilarious. So give it to Uzuki, she'll murder anything, and then that's cool. Mio as a standalone card is okay because she's a 106k before assist, but that's only on play. I think you're better off with something like, I don't know, Mika and Rika combo. I think you're better off with that. And her climax combo is okay too. When you do the climax combo, you put one of your characters to rest, which is really easy to do, and then your opponent, all your characters cannot be put to reverse, so they all get to live, and your opponent cannot play any backups from their hands for any events, so they can't play any gay anti-damage events. Thank God Mio has this effect. Can you imagine pulling this off, and then your Uzuki gets anti-damage? That would be like the shittiest feeling ever. But luckily, that doesn't happen thanks to Mio, and your opponent can't use any other annoying backups, like maybe like a Sheena backup or an Akatsuki backup or like the Lifa backup. You know, they gotta take the climax combo like a real man and just accept it, thanks to Mio. So yeah. So like Mio's an okay card on her own, and Rin is an okay card on her own. So like you could kind of like use these two at all portions of the game, and then at level 3, like then like end game them with Uzuki. I can kind of see that happening, but it's like yeah, these are okay cards on their own, but why not just have really good cards on their own and then run like really scary game enders that aren't so setup dependent, you know? So in the end, I really like what they're trying to do. I think it's absolutely hilarious, and I like the fact that if you actually pull this off, it's actually pretty scary for your opponent. But like I said, it's just too much work. But I really do like what they're trying to do here. So yeah. And the climaxes, of course, it's climax rare, SR, and triple R. So more cards, 2/2 common new generation spawn. It's a pay to event. So what this does is you may place the top 3 cards of your deck to the waiting room. Period. That's important. Then she has another effect. Choose one yellow character choose up to one yellow character, up to one red character, and up to one blue character in your waiting room, add it to your hand, then clock this card. So this event has like two abilities. You can mill yourself 3. The mill 3 is not mandatory, and you don't have to mill 3 to get the second ability off. So if you don't want to mill 3, you can just purely use this to grab one yellow, one red, and one blue character in your waiting room, and then you put this card to clock. So of course, clearly they're trying to, this is obviously used to get the wombo combo off, because you get one red, one blue, and one yellow character, and this goes to clock. But if they take this damage, then you heal the damage, so it's like you took nothing. So clearly that is like the idea they're going for. But I think this card is pretty cool. You plus 2, because if you pay 2, you mill top 3. You get one yellow, one red, and one blue character. So you use one card in your hand to gain 3 cards. So you plus 2, you get to mill 3, which is usually a good thing. And this card, so you pay 2, you take 1 damage, and you plus 3, which is pretty good. But you know, taking 1 damage kind of hurts at level 2, and really hurts at level 3. So it's like, you kind of have to be careful. And of course, it really depends on your deck, because if your deck is red-blue, then you only plus 1, and that's not that good. You're paying 2 and clocking yourself to plus 1. A normal card like Chihiro pluses you 1 for 2 stock, and you don't have to clock yourself, you know? So this card is only really good if you're actually grabbing one yellow, one red, and one blue character. If your deck is in tricolor, and at the time you use this event, if you can't grab one of every character, this is a pretty weak event. Like, you have to grab all 3 for this to become a good event. If you don't grab all 3, the event becomes pretty mediocre. I mean, you get to mill 3, which is nice, but without hitting yellow, red, without salvaging red, yellow, blue, this event is pretty mediocre. So yeah, this event is of course only really practical to use in a red, yellow, and blue deck, in my opinion. So if you're running a red, yellow, blue deck, you can consider one of these cards, because it can be pretty good. Just use it at the early stages of level 2, and it shouldn't be too bad. But later into the game, I don't think you should be using it at level 3. Don't, I guess, be careful with this. And if you're not running red, yellow, blue, I don't think you should be running this. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. The art on this is hella cute though. Like, damn. Super cute. Anyways, let's go on. Next up, this last Rin combo here. 105KR, my first starting music. She climax combos with the 2K one here. When this card reverses an opponent in battle with the climax taking my first steps, the 2K1, this card gains plus 1 level and plus 5/5 power until the end of your opponent's next turn. And the 2K1 is a climax common, and this one doesn't have an SR, it's just a CC and a triple R. Super cute. Lean is super cute. Anyways, let's go on. This Lean, I think it's a pretty interesting, and I like this climax combo. This climax combo is kind of anti-meta, because she's 105k, which is not that good. She doesn't have any other abilities, which is kind of crappy, but when you do 2k1 and you successfully reverse your opponent's character, she becomes a freaking 10-5 level 2 at level 1 against your opponent. And I'm sure many of you guys do know, but you know, the meta nowadays is usually like 1-0s with really efficient climax combos that are dependent on reversing your opponent's character to get their certain abilities off 2+. A very prime example is the new 1-0 Mikon into Lovely Darkness that combos with the gold bar and or stock 1 soul. Another very good example is the 1-0 Tachibana from Nisekoi. Another good example is like the Shimakaze from Contact Collection. All of those are considered to be very strong decks by many players, and they all kind of have the trend of, you know, really strong 1-0 climax combos. And those, of course, are very dependent on reversing your opponent's character. But if you have like 2 of these things out, or if you have 3 of these things out, and then you play the 2k1, and then you kill your opponent's character before they get their climax combo off, then she's a 10-5 level 2. So like, first of all, against any deck, at level 1, what is your opponent going to do? They can't side. Well, they can side, but it's going to be pretty hard. So like, it's hard to side for damage, and the lean is just too strong. Just 10-5 for assist with the climax combo, that is too strong. So your opponent either has to side for like no damage, or your opponent has to crash and kill their own characters to push for damage. And at level 1, that's not the greatest idea. So it's like, this lean can be really scary if you do successfully manage to get the climax combo. But I don't think this lean is that, like, I think it's a little too hard to pull off. I think for this lean to be really scary, I think you have to get multiple leans climax combos off in the same turn. Like, if you have 3 characters in the front, and let's say one of them is lean, and she gets her climax combo off successfully, sure, you have one really good wall on your opponent's turn, but your other 2 cards are fairly weak, and those 2 other cards are still susceptible to like your opponent's climax combos. Like, those 2 other characters are susceptible to like Shimakaze or Tachibana or Mikon, and if they still manage to plus off your other 2 characters, then yeah, you have this really scary team that's gonna live. But if they just side against her, that's like, oh, okay, you don't like, I don't take damage on one attack. That's not that big of a deal. But if you have like 3 leans and they all got their climax combo off for one whole turn, your opponent can't really do anything. Either they kill themselves and minus themselves in resources, or they side for 0 damage. And taking no damage for an entire turn is a pretty big deal. So like, if you have 2 leans in the front and only one character in the, like, you have 3 characters in the front and 2 leans had got their climax combos off successfully and one of them didn't, then that's pretty good, because then your opponent can like only kill one character comfortably, and they can't kill the 2 other leans. So like, you know, that's pretty good. But if you only get one lean climax combo off, I don't think that's very good. So I hope you guys see what I mean. But I really do think only getting one lean off isn't really good. But if you get like 2 or 3 leans off, then it becomes really, 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 really scary. So I think that's really cool. But you know, also do keep in mind, lean does have to successfully reverse the opponent's character. If you and this is a 2k1, so getting multiple leans climax combos off might not be that easy, because this is a 2k1. So like, yeah, the 2k1 might help guarantee one of the leans climax combos to successfully go off, but the other 2 leans are only like 105k, so like, it can be pretty hard for them to get their climax combo off successfully, you know? So it's like, it can be a little hard to do. So, I like this climax combo a lot. I think it's cool. I think it can be really strong, but I just don't know how practical it is, just because, like I said, you need to get multiple leans off, in my opinion, for it to be really good. 2, it's a 2k1, so like getting multiple leans off successfully might be difficult. And 3, she has to reverse something, and she's only 5k, so she's not that strong. So like, if you 2k1, she's 7k before assist, but that's still not that strong. Like, if your opponent runs event backups like Angel Beats, Shining Resonance, SAO, then it's like, crap, I can't reverse anything, you know? So it's like, I don't know. So I really like what they're trying to go for, but I don't think it's gonna be that good. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. And that is all for this video. How long is this video? 58 minutes. But that's understandable. This week is pretty crazy. They have shown a lot of really good and interesting cards. And yeah, I really like this week. I think a lot of really good and fun cards were shown. Just a little summary, I guess. This media, excellent, excellent, excellent card. Gotta run it. Mika or Rika, excellent card. I think you gotta run it. Mika, a very good card. Or I think these 2 right here is definitely a strong candidate to consider for a level 1 game for Cinderella girls. And as we see, it's really easy to splash yellow into your deck. So this combo here might be the next up and coming wombo combo we see for level 1 in Cinderella Girls. I don't know, we'll just have to see what else the set has to offer, but as of right now, I think it's pretty damn good. ID, a very solid level 0 Brainstorm. Sachiko, it's not bad, I like it, I think it's okay. This Mizuki kind of sucks, it's so expensive for level 1 backup, but hey, it could save your ass, so that's worth it. So yeah, definitely a solid card. Producer, it's a very solid card. Definitely consider running a couple of these. Energy drink, a little too all in for my taste, but hey, maybe something really strong synergizes with this. This will be really good. So we'll always have to keep this at the back of our minds. Sachiko, you're better off with other things. Anzu, definitely playable, but in my personal opinion, she's not my cup of tea. This event is okay, but can be pretty good if you're running a lot of these energy drinks. So, yeah, a pretty decent event, I guess. Thursday, at first I was like, oh man, this Anastasia's like whatever. But the more I thought about it, the more I liked it. So overall, I really like Anastasia. Anastasia and Ranko, right off the bat, I think is a really cool and pretty scary game ender duo. So like, right off the bat, I think blue seems like a really fun and good color. So Anastasia, definitely, I really like this card. Really, really, really like this card. Very solid level 0 assist and a really solid level 1. Man, Love Laika plus Lanko. Lanko might as well be a part of Love Laika. Already looking pretty strong. New generation, I'm not so sure about. A little too combo-y for my personal taste. I guess if you're living the dream, you can get Uzuki off with the energy drink. Holy shit, if you got that off, you are a god. You paid 5. You paid 2 for Uzuki, you paid 3 for the climax combo, and you paid 4 for the energy drink. You paid 9 stock that turn. And you got all the pieces together. You are one hell of a player if you did that. And so you get to, hopefully your opponent, if my opponent did that to me, I wouldn't even back up against Uzuki because they deserve that. But anyways, if they got that off, that is hilarious. You could heal 6 or you could deal 3 to your opponent or deal 6 to your opponent. That's hilarious. But anyways, too combo-y for my taste. This event is pretty good if you're running yellow, green, blue, or yellow, red, blue. But if you're not, I'd say stray away from it. Even if you are running red, yellow, blue, I don't advise. I mean, you don't have to run it, I should say. This lean, I really like this combo. I think it's really good, but I'm not too sure how practical it is. I guess we'll have to see what else the set has to offer, and you know, in my head, I don't really see it being that practical. But you know, when you actually start playing it, it might be another story. So hey, maybe it will be really good, or maybe it won't be good at all, and people will call, and it'll be bad, and then everyone will call me dumb. But you know, we'll just have to see. And that's all for this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I thought this week was a lot of fun, and yeah, I guess I'll leave it at that. My voice is starting to die out, and until next time, guys.